All
right, welcome to episode number 37 of the Sundowners Golf Club podcast. I am Giovanni. I'm here with Matt Caldwell. Matt, what do you think of the new intro?
That's a fun intro. I like it. I watched it on my phone earlier, and I like it even more here. It gives me it's like a mashup of The Office and the movie Chef, which are two things I like.
Wow, that's a really good compliment, honestly. Yeah, we're tinkering with some new intros, new outros, stuff like that. That took me maybe about 10 minutes. I'm tinkering with Final Cut Pro. I'm getting a little bit better at it. Not even close to good, but I'm having fun with it. One of my biggest challenges on making a new intro was I think I had a total of 6 horizontal videos on my phone. And that's not just golf videos. It's like any video. Everything else is vertical. And of course, trying to make an intro on in 1080p doesn't work very well with vertical videos. So there you have it. I think we might see some more changes as we move forward, just some tinkering as we go. So if anybody's listening and has some comments, please feel free to let us know. Like and subscribe. Anyway, Matt, let's see. How was your week?
It was good, man. I watched a lot of golf. I didn't get much golf viewing in on Saturday. I did a little hunting attempt with my son. No luck, but other than that, a lot of golf watching. A lot of golf.
Oh yeah, we're back, baby. I mean, that's I can appreciate some fall golf. I can appreciate the little break around Christmas, but once we hit the ground running here, I'm all in. So I also watched a lot of golf. Admittedly, I think the stretch where I watched the least amount of golf was probably the back nine on Sunday, because I think that was the least consequential part of the tournament. Yeah, a lot of golf. Now, for me, I actually wish I was golfing on Sunday. Sunday, the weather was remarkable.
It was so good.
What is it? It was February 1st of February. We still got some time left in winter. I don't even know what the temperature was, but it was shorts and t-shirt weather outside. So otherwise, though, I was doing some yard work. Got a little bit of work travel coming up this week, going to middle of nowhere, Colorado. I'm going to your old stomping grounds, Matt.
Well, you're on the wrong side of the divide, but yeah.
I don't know if that's the right side of the divide for anybody where I'm going. It's 2.5 hour drive on a single lane road from Grand Junction. It's about 30 minutes from the Utah border. The nearest town's 30 minutes away, and it's got a population of 400 people. But we do have a desalination plant there that needs some attention. So take that back. It doesn't need some attention. I'm just doing a site visit. So just got to go do, the highs and buys.
There you go.
Yeah.
Safety guys coming into town.
That's right. Yes. It's funny. Every time I visit, everybody's wearing all the right PPE. They're doing everything they're supposed to do.
Of course.
It's great.
Of course. It's like somebody got the drop on you.
Yeah,
you're coming.
All right. So Farmers Insurance Open. Of course, we talked a little bit about it last week. This was the big event for us because Brooks Koepka is back in town, back playing on the PGA Tour. I'll admit that probably got me tuned in more than anything else, and I didn't really expect that. Like I said, I'm a fan of Brooks's. He was never really a huge needle mover for me, but this weekend he was. I was locked into watching the mainstream, and then eventually I just would gravitate towards the featured group with Brooks just because I was excited to see if he's going to make the cut in his first tournament back. Before we dive into it too much, I do want to say Justin Rose, Rosie boy, is your winner in historic fashion. What did he finish? 24 under maybe. So shout out to Justin Rose coming off of a hot year.
24 would have given him the record, so it's 23.
Okay. Coming off a hot year last year, great Ryder Cup, made it to a playoff with Rory at Augusta last year, and he's coming out quick with a win, a commanding win. So we might be seeing some big things out of Justin Rose this year.
I mean, he always seems to kind of be really close, but not get it done. And he left no doubt going wire to wire this weekend. I mean, it was, I mean, what did Joel Damon say going into Sunday? He's like, my best shot at winning this tournament is Justin forgets to set his alarm or something like that.
Yeah, they asked Joel Damon. He hasn't completely lost hope. He said, "Well, I do have some hope, and I hope he misses his alarm or something."
Love that. And this was big. I sent you. Did you say?
You're cutting out on audio. Oh, we lost you. Now, one thing I do need to say about Joel Damon, it was a little bit like a slow car accident because we had Joel Damon and we had Seamus Power both kind of in the mix, and pretty early on they started fading. I know Joel Damon kind of rallied towards the end and ended up finishing with, I believe, a T7. Yeah, it's kind of nice to see him in the mix. I mean, he's kind of a fan favorite ever since the Netflix stuff. What were you going to say, Matt?
Oh, I was asking if you had that little screenshot I sent you about Joel's, just kind of his situation where he was the fifth alternate, and all of the alternates except for him or up to him are in. And then when Brooks said he was going to come in, they had a twosome, not a threesome, and so they had to bring in the fifth alternate, which was Joel, and that's how he got to play. Was because of Brooks, essentially. And
that's crazy.
He got this, and then I believe he's a sponsor's exemption next week.
He did get a sponsor. He did get a sponsor's exemption next week, and I think part of the stipulations is he has to keep his shirt on. He made a comment about that.
He did. Did you read his letter?
I didn't know.
He put it in his letter to the Thunderbirds saying, he understands how, the importance of this tournament, and that it's professional, but it's fun, and it's requires a little bit of character from the golfers. And if they give him an opportunity to come, he can promise them, he can assure them one thing: he'll keep his shirt on. And in the picture I saw, it was the letter to them and the shirt he took off that day. So
that is awesome.
It was good. It's hard to dislike Joel Damon, man.
I know. Now, speaking of Joel Damon and his status, I had messaged you and ADL about it a little bit, but I had some fun as I'm listening in on the broadcast. I'm trying to find my own transcription here, but one of the many wonders of the PGA Tour, I've been what I think kind of a diehard PGA Tour pro golf fan for a long time, and I pretend like I know a lot about it, but there's one thing that's always been a mystery, and it's how do some of these guys qualify for some of these events? There are so many different weird, strange exemption categories, and they keep changing the rules on us. They just changed, the top 100 keep their card in full exemption status this last year. So not only is it hard to understand, but it also is just changing all the time. So anyway, I'm tuning in. I'm watching the broadcasters. I need to be better about this on naming these broadcasters, but it was on featured group coverage, and they're showing Joel Damon practicing on the range, and they talk about his where he's ranked and how he's playing, and they're talking about, oh well, we got some insight from a rules official. So my ears perked up, like, oh sweet, I'm going to understand how this goes. I'm going to read verbatim my own transcription of this discussion that happened on television, okay? And I'm going to, Matt, I want you to help me decipher what this means. If there's any listeners that can speak this language, let me know, okay? So we have broadcast analyst one. Also, I'll say analyst one. She says, alongside Seamus Power and Justin Rose, this is just where my video started. He's playing out of the 111 to 125 category. You and I got some insight on that because we were both confused. Obviously, top 100 now on the PGA Tour after the fall season keep their full status. So let's break down how it's a little bit different if we have just a few seconds here, because you talked to one of the PGA Tour officials to get some explanation. Analyst number two steps in and says, yeah, I actually talked to Mark Williams, and he's one of the media officials. And, so now they have three additional. It used to be top 125 was full exempt, right? So 126 to 150 was in the same category. Analyst one says, so the next 25 was one category? Analyst two says, right, that is correct. So now you think of that, it should be 101 to 125, but it's not. It's actually 101 to 110. And And then they have 3 additional categories in there: 300 career-made cuts, 3-time winner on Korn Ferry Tour. So anyone wins for 3 times this year, they'll get promoted up, and then major medicals. So there are this 3 categories ahead of him that. So now he's 111 to 125. You can get shuffled up in that particular category. So this is really important weekend for Joel Dahmen to try and continue to shuffle up to have more opportunities to play. Okay, it's a lot, but I had no idea what they're talking about live, and then I recorded it and then typed it out, and I still don't even have a clue. I don't have a clue how he's in this tournament. I don't have a clue what category he's in. I don't have a clue what he's shuffling into. I don't know any of it. Help me.
I don't know, man. I'm just rooting for him to have his tour status back. I don't know. I don't know.
No, this has so little to do with Joel Dahmen.
Bad though for, here's you and I are whatever. This is episode 37. So you and I have gotten behind the mics 36 times previous. And I think you and I both can agree. Don't ask your partner a question that you're not certain they have at least a coherent response for. Whether it's right or wrong, like you kind of have to have a little confidence. And I kind of think analyst 1, and we should probably figure out their names, kind of hosed analyst 2 in this situation, not knowing for certain they had a good response. That's what I got from that, was that analyst 2 kind of got run over by a bus.
I think you're right. Granted, I think she maybe thought he understood more. I think they both think they understood more because, as she said, I understand you got to talk to a rules official about it. And I don't doubt that he talked to a rules official, and I don't doubt that the rules official explained it semi-coherently. I just think the system is so confusing that it's just hard. It's probably hard to understand, but it's especially hard to try to explain it to a general viewer, right? They're just broadcasting on live television, right? So they might be able to explain it better to some PGA Tour junkie, but when you're doing it on live television, you could tell they were trying to get it out. And this has nothing to do with Joel Dahmen. This is just, it's silly to watch people who are, I don't know, supposed, we'll call them experts of the game. I don't know, you're broadcasting pro golf events, right? Struggle to understand it as well. It's funny. I don't even know if it's a problem personally. It just is what it is. I'm glad Joel Dahmen got into that category, whatever it is.
Yeah. This is my speculation. I think it's hard to keep up because the thing we're not saying is that there's an obvious attempt for the PGA to kind of whittle down the fields a bit. I mean, they've said it out loud and they're doing things that make it obvious. And so sometimes there's kind of like, I think being in the not understanding zone is kind of where they want us to be a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay, we just have the golfers that are supposed to be here. Whatever. Fine. Let's do it.
Yep. Yep. So before we get back to the golf, another thing I saw on ESPN Plus as Justin Rose was mounting his charge to record-breaking numbers, some numbers popped up on the screen for the lowest relative to par scores at the Farmers Insurance Open, which I believe has changed over the years in name.
It used to be the Buick Invitational, right?
It did. It used to be the Buick Invitational. Now, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who are the 2 golfers who held the previous record at 22 under, which was 22 relative to par?
I mean, saying the Buick Invitational was purposeful. I'm assuming Tiger is one of them.
Tiger's one of them. I will give you $200 cold hard cash if you can name the person who did it as well. I think it was 1987.
87. I'm assuming it's not one of the big names that I'm going to be able to figure out. Greg Norman.
His name is George Burns. Never heard of George Burns. I just love when we're watching golf, and you know how in sports, it happens in every sport, when they'll say, this has only been done by Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Brett Favre. What company that is? You know, that's a common sports thing, right? It's only been done by these names, and everybody knows those names. And it felt like they were trying to do that and it shows Tiger Woods. I can't remember everybody else down the list that you recognize. And then George Burns is in there at 22 under. 22 under. So
That's
anyway,
excellent.
shout out to George Burns.
Yeah. Hey, you got T2 US Open 1981. There you go.
That's unreal. Okay, so let's get back to the golf here. Torrey Pines. Where do we want to start here? Do we want to start? I know we already kind of gave our flowers to Justin Rose. Do you want to have notable missed cuts, notable performances, or just start at the top with Justin Rose?
Well, I mean, I can personally complain about the missed cut situation because everybody knows. I don't know if we wanted to finish the show, but I'm going to jump it here. You know, we have our little money game going, right? We're tracking the purses, and I'm behind you by a hefty margin right now. Okay. And I needed as many golfers as possible to make the cut. And coming down the last few holes on Friday, Christo Lamprecht, my rookie, is a stroke away from making the cut. And the dude hits it a long way. He gets to 18, it's par 5. And I sent in the group chat, I said, hey, this guy can hit it a mile. It's a par 5. This is made for him to get a birdie. He should have a nice birdie opportunity here. I don't know what club he was hitting, but he hits it 300 yards off the tee box. It's like, okay. He hits it a long way. He can still get to the green. And he could. I believe it was 277 to the flag from where he was. And he hit it to the back of the green. Flag was on the front.
77 feet away.
So I was like, okay, that's an option. He still should be able to pitch up and have a birdie up. Pitches it to the center of the green, 2 putts, and gets a par, misses the cut. I'm like, buddy, what's the difference between, getting a birdie opportunity or missing the cut by 2 or 3? Like, why not just go for it? I don't understand it. So that's my notable miscut to start off.
Okay. Now, I'm going to separate it from our little game here because I could easily go down the list on my guys that missed the cut. But this guy is my guy, but I also think you got me still, buddy? Another guy is Luke Clanton. You know, Luke Clanton, I'm not worried about him yet at this point, but he's had such a strong year last year. He's kind of considered one of the best young studs coming up on the tour. And so he's coming off 2 straight missed cuts. So we don't like to see that. Max Homa is another guy. I think we're all rooting for Max Homa. And he looked, I don't know, he just looked uncomfortable. He was playing in a group with Brooks, so I got to watch a lot of Max Homa this weekend, and he just looks unhappy. He's kind of got that stink face that he does sometimes. I don't want to say he's pouting, but you could just tell he's not in a place that he wants to be. He wasn't even close to making the cut. He was 1 over. Cut line was at -3.
I'm back.
I'm glad you're back. Now, another name I need to throw out there, Ludvig Aberg. There was some talk about him being allergic to California because last year he got the flu when they made their way to California. I don't know if he's sick or not now, but he's not playing some good golf. He at a certain point he was hanging on to DFL for a little while. He ended up missing the cut. I think he was, I'm looking at it now, 4th from the bottom in terms of leaderboard. 6 over, went 78, 72. I'm just wondering what's going on with Ludvig. He has that swing that is truly on the verge of like robotic and perfect. So it's crazy watching a swing like that and for them to post a 78. It's crazy, and I hope he turns it around because he's a guy that I think PGA Tour golf needs to. It's just a better product when he's playing well. What do you think?
Totally. I was shocked to see a 78 on Thursday from him. I mean, he's one of those guys. I mean, he's official world golf number 19. You expect those guys to at least be close to the cut line, but to play that sort of golf at a course that a lot of guys were, cutting up. I think the stat I saw in relation to Joel Damon, not to talk about Joel Damon, was, most of the winners of the last like 4 or 5 years were all like 12 or 13 under. And to shoot a 78 when everybody else is just cutting the course up is like, what are we doing? What's wrong?
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. As I'm watching, when you watch pro golf on TV, you kind of fall in love with the number on the leaderboard, right? You almost kind of lose track of the actual golf game. He was playing terribly, and I'm watching, and I for a moment remove myself from the leaderboard, and I'm just watching, saying, pro golf has got to be so stinking hard, because he's not playing that bad, right? Like his misses, the misses are just small, making little errors that turns into a bogey here and then a bogey there. He has such a good swing. It's just sometimes when you're playing professional golf, you can't afford even 1, 2, or 3 of those types of errors, and he just couldn't quite keep the bogeys off the card. Another notable miscut. I don't know that this is a notable miscut because of a trend. Obviously, it's not a trend based on what I'm about to say, but I'm not worried about this guy at all. But it is worth mentioning that Xander Schauffele missed the cut by 1, and that concludes his cut record, which was the 5th longest made cut record of 72. So that record, that streak, is now over for Xander. Does that make you feel anything for Xander moving forward?
Not right now. No, he's had enough sustained success that I think having an anomaly like this, I'm not really. It happens, man. I mean, it happens. An interesting cut. I don't know if you mentioned him when I was having my blackout. Max Greiserman shot a 64 on Thursday and missed the cut. Shoots a 64, 78. And misses the cut by a stroke.
Missed it by 1.
Yikes. That's brutal. And Max Greiserman, I talked about him, on and off all last season. He's just kind of one of those guys I don't know. For whatever reason, I like watching him play golf. If he was maybe ranked where Rico Hoey was, I would have drafted him along with AVLs, inside 100.
Yeah, I hear you there. Another miscut is also, for the record, I don't think Xander missing the cut by 1 on an event like this, I don't even really know if that's like an outlier. Like it's not like he blew up the course, right? I think it's just you can call this a semi-down week. I think you look at a lot of people's careers and I think they account for missing a cut or 2 here and there, right? So Xander's been able to go essentially, I don't know how many tournaments a year he's playing, but he's 2, 3, 4 years in a row without missing a cut. So anyhow, another notable for this podcast specifically is Sammy Valimaki. We are the #1 Sammy Valimaki podcast. Missed the cut by 1, shot a 68 on day 1, followed by a 74. I would love to see Sammy Valimaki playing on the weekend. Now, a fun fact, and I'm not even going to do any fact checking. I'm just going to trust the broadcast on this one. They have never led me astray, even when it comes to status exemptions. But Justin Rose shot the low on each course this weekend. So Thursday, I think he played the South course on. Let me take a look here. I said I wasn't going to fact check myself, but. So round 1, he played the North course, shot a 62, which was a low for the day. And then the next day, played the harder of the 2, the South course, shot a 65, which was a low round of the day. So allowed him to kind of hit the cruise control button. He ended up shooting a 68, 70 on the weekend to win by 7 strokes. Oh, I'm losing you again. We got to get some technical audio visual stuff going on over at the Caldwell residence. I'm going to move on to notable. We're going to move on from the miscuts. We're going to move on to just notable leaderboard finishes. Obviously, we're talking about Justin Rose. I don't even know if that's like a surprising win. I think he had a win earlier last year, and it felt a little bit more like a surprise, more of a resurgence, but. I think coming into this year, we would have expected something like this out of Rosie and probably more to come. Pearson Coody, that's a name that we've mentioned a few times on this podcast. I specifically remember him coming up from the Korn Ferry Tour, him and his brother, and they were kind of the next hot thing, and they really haven't had a ton of success on tour. So it's good to see his name in the mix. Siwoo Kim, he was in the mix coming into Saturday, so he did get a T2 finish along with Ryo Hisatsun. Jake Knapp, the butteriest swing on tour right now. He's like Fred Couples 2.0. He had a great final round, had a near ace coming down the stretch on Sunday to finish with a T5. Matt, where are you at on that?
Love it. I'm pro Jake Knapp this season, man. I'm his #1 fan. I think I immediately sent you near ace. I mean, while it was in the air, I think I sent that text that I thought I was going to go in.
Yep. You know, we were talking about it kind of offline. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I just want to acknowledge just how impressive it is for Jake Knapp to show up to the course week in, week out now and perform at a high level like this. Considering what happened to him last year, the stories were reported that his girlfriend had passed away. I don't know much more than that, but you can imagine what is he, 31? So any 30 or 31-year-old going through something like that, it'd probably be so hard to show back up to the course and see all your buddies and competitors and expect yourself to compete at a high level. So my heart goes out to Jake Knapp and his family, and it's just really cool to see that he's completely and totally relevant on the PGA Tour, finishing T5 here at the Farmers Open or Farmers Insurance Open.
Do you have a shot that you're remembering over this weekend? A single shot?
There's a couple. Tony Finau hitting an ace on, I can't remember which hole, but the broadcasters were talking about how difficult that pin placement was. By the time he got there were only 7 birdies for the field, and then he ends up making an ace. I thought I'm bad at remembering these holes, but I'm watching the featured group of Max Homa, Brooks Koepka, and who were those guys playing with Thursday, Friday? Oh, Ludvig.
Homa, Koepka, yeah.
And they had a par 5. Pin was in the back, and first off, Homa hit his ball so far left, he was like 290 in the left rough with a tree to go around, and the broadcasters were kind of bamboozled on how he's going to play the shot. And Homa hits this high fade, and nobody really knows where it's going, but it was all over the flag. Just kind of a cool shot to watch. In a way, I was hoping that was going to kind of bring some resurgence to Homa. It ended up going just long, and he chipped on. I think he ended up making par. But then Brooks Koepka comes up, and he was hitting the ball great all week. And he hits a shot that was just truly in the perfect position. That particular hole, guys were having a hard time getting it back to that flag because the only way to really get it there to keep it back there was to land it into the upslope in the middle of the green and kind of just knock some spin off of it and hope it stays. Guys were either landing it on the slope and having it roll down to the middle of the green, or they're going along with the flag. And Brooks just hit this perfect shot to maybe 7 feet, 2-putted for birdie. And then Ludvig hit this little poof ball butterfly that landed 50 feet from the hole, despite he was maybe 210 to the flag. So it was kind of just a tale of 3 golfers in that one hole to see Max Homa desperate to find some game, taking these aggressive shots. Brooks is probably nervous out of his mind at this event. And then Ludvig, who just was not comfortable in his own shoes, just playing it safe and shooting 78. So that was my longest answer.
Before I jump into the Brooks thing, the shot that's ingrained in my brain outside of the Tony Finau ace is Chris Gotterup with a mini driver off the deck for a near albatross. Did you see this?
I did not know. I didn't see any Chris Gotterup shots.
He was about 270 out. He's in the fairway. He pulls out the mini driver and just laces one. I mean, laces one. And it just peaks in the hole, rolls past. I think it stayed just, I don't know, maybe a foot and a half from the cup from 270 out. I mean, it was incredible.
Unreal.
Easiest eagle ever. That's the shot. I mean, you don't see those. Holes in ones every once in a while, but albatrosses are, I know it didn't go in, but 270, that'd have been nice.
Nice. Hey, I got a name for you, because I'd like to dive into the Brooks thing, but I do have a name for you. He's on the miscut list at 1 over. Do you know, are you familiar with Aaron Wise?
Not Aaron Rye.
Not Aaron Rye, Aaron
No,
Wise. You don't know the name.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Now, Aaron Wise, he is South African, went to University of Oregon. I've just knew the name loosely just from watching golf years ago. But I went to a mid-am tournament, a PNGA mid-am tournament at Sylvies Valley Ranch down in Oregon, probably I guess 4 or 5 years ago. And we ended up staying in, it's like a, I don't know, campsite on the ranch. And during the tournament, we did all the practice rounds. We got to know pretty much everybody staying on property was competing in the tournament. So we get to know all these other golfers as we're hanging around this camp area. At a certain point, we're hitting balls out into the field, middle of the night, just having some beers. And one of the guys that we ended up hanging out with for a little while, Harrison Moore was his name, and I believe he played at University of Oregon with Aaron Wise. And that's how he knew Aaron. But we kind of befriended Harrison for a little bit. If I remember right, he got second place at the mid-am. It was him and one other golfer that were the only players to finish under par after 3 days. And he ended up losing in a playoff. But anyway, Harrison, great golfer. And we were talking about golf and pro golf and his experience. And he's really good buddies with Aaron Wise. And so ever since that tournament, I was just keeping an eye on Aaron Wise. He's just one of the guys that I control F to see how he's doing. I think it was either last year or the year before. He went out on a major medical, not exemption, major medical relief. What's the word I'm looking for? Medical leave, I guess. He had a back injury. So this is the first time I've seen his name on a leaderboard in a while. So good to see Aaron Wise back. He does have one career win. He won the AT&T Byron Nelson back in 17-18. So that's my Aaron Wise highlight moment of the day.
Yeah, once you mentioned Sylvies Valley, I did remember this story as soon as you mentioned Sylvies. Yeah.
Honestly, he's had a pretty good career. $11.8 million in earnings. He's got 1 win, 3 runner-ups, 1 third-place finish, 16 top 10s. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it looks like 2024 was when he had that leave. So he only had 1 start, 15 starts in 23 and 1 start in 24.
So maybe I should ask the PGA Tour rules official to help me understand, like, what does that mean for Aaron Wise going into future tournaments? Does he automatically get a spot?
There's 4 different categories, and
I was like, where's this going to go? All right, Matt. Hey, let's talk about Brooks coming back. I know we talked about him coming back and kind of just talking about the news of him coming back. Now that we got to see him play, now that we got to kind of feel what it feels like to root for Brooks again, we get to see him sweat out the cut line a little bit. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about everything with Brooks coming back?
Honestly, I think he looked pretty good. He got a lot more TV time than maybe anybody else that finishes T56 would have gotten. But it's Brooks Koepka, guys. I mean, he has a lot of major wins. He's been one of the best golfers of his generation. And people, I think, get twisted around the hub over the fact that he went to live, and they have, I don't know, weird associations to it all. And he's back on the PGA Tour. He wants to be back here. I don't know if we said it on the podcast or just on a phone call, but he said he wanted to be closer to family. He went to live, and he said the same thing when he came back to PGA Tour. And the reality is maybe it wasn't what he thought it was, and he's happier here on the PGA Tour. And now he knows that for certain. And so for me, I'm just glad to see him back. And to be frank, I don't think he played bad golf. He was on TV a lot, and I text you a couple times like, this guy's a couple putts away from being several strokes better, not chasing the win, but he was playing pretty dang good. Like, he really wasn't making a lot of mistakes. It just, he was putting it on the green and would 2-putt and get out of there with a par. I mean, it was just kind of ho-hum golf. And, you look at his week. He shoots a 73 on Thursday. He's outside of the cut. He has to make a run. Starts Friday off. If I'm remembering, he goes bogey double or double bogey. Either way, he was +3 on the day in his first 2 holes on Friday, and he follows that up birdie, 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 and gets back to even. So his first 5 holes, bogey, double bogey, birdie, birdie, birdie. And so he kind of had a battle, and he ends up doing what he needs to do to make the cut. And he did a good job. I legit don't understand what people's issue seeing Brooks come back to the PGA Tour is. Because if you're pro PGA Tour, if you're like PGA Tour's the place, live is bad, live is blah, 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 blah. So if a guy comes back to the PGA Tour, you should be like, see, I'm glad to see him back. He's one of us. But instead, they kind of have this like, well, he did the wrong thing, so I don't want to accept him back. I just
burn him at the stake.
I legit don't understand. It's like, do you like a good product? You want all the good guys, right? That's what we've said on this podcast the entire time. The only reason I have beef, if you even want to call it that with Liv, is that I'm watching guys that I've enjoyed watching golf compete against each other, split into 2 camps, and they don't get to compete against each other anymore. And for me, as just the guy that wants to watch them play against each other, that sucks. So yeah, I'm stoked that he's back, and it was fun watching him play, and I was happy that he got as much TV time as he did. And second kind of weird comment is, my first thought when I saw him on TV was, oh yeah, he is still a Nike golfer. Because, we'd been seeing him in all of his, Live attire.
Well, wait a second. Correction. I don't know that he ever wore a Live uniform. His team
did he not?
I don't know that he ever did. He just would wear
Was he always a Nike guy? I guess in my head he wasn't wearing Nike, but maybe I'm just
that was kind of the thing about Brooks Koepka, was like he'd wear the same color scheme as the rest of the team, but no, everybody else would wear the uniform. Yeah, I'm looking at old pictures of him. He's wearing Nike.
Oh, well, there you go. So there, I'm wrong. Okay. I just assumed that he was wearing, his uniform. And now I've been outed as I don't watch a lot of Live Golf. Okay, Frank Dunn?
Well, I'm gonna out you a little more really quick. Okay. So just a quick correction.
Okay. Correct me.
You were correct about Brooks starting bogey, double bogey, followed by 3 birdies. That was actually on Saturday morning after he had already made the cut. That does not diminish the point of your comment, was that he had to show up on Friday and shoot a 68, and that's what he did.
Right.
Now I do want to acknowledge that, and we had talked about it a little bit, but just the overall dialogue around Brooks Koepka coming back, it was like he went to war and didn't touch a club once, and he comes back to the PGA Tour. It's like, how let's see how he can do. Don't get me wrong, I understand there are different tours, different types of pressure, but he was playing professional golf on another tour and making a lot of money to do it. So I get it. I get the sentiment. It's been a long time since he's played, but I don't know why we would expect anything different from Brooks Koepka, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. At the end of this thing, I was not expecting Brooks Koepka to win this tournament, but what I saw was he's going to be just fine this season. He's going to be in the mix a lot, right? Like a lot. And I'm excited for it. I'm genuinely excited for it. And he's not the only guy coming back. It's not the only guy coming back.
Well, before I'm not going to take the bait just yet. Okay. I want to move on from Brooks. I loved, well, let me rewind. I don't know if I love it. I want to just state it. And I'll say why I don't necessarily love it, but early on, I think Brooks Koepka had probably given us more insight into Brooks Koepka, like the real Brooks Koepka during his press conferences before the tournament started. He just seemed really genuine, open, and honest. I don't know that I've ever seen an interview of Brooks's like that. He was talking about his family and coming back, and he's wanting to inspire his son. And he's like, I get excited watching my son play. I want my son to be excited to watch me play professionally. He says he's fallen in love with the game again. So I like that. I like that feels genuine. It's not disingenuous, kind of like what we were getting when people were leaving for Live. The only thing I don't like about it is this, Matt. I think I like the bad boy Brooks when he's saying it's actually easier to win a major than it is to win a normal PGA Tour event. I like that version of Brooks, and I hope that doesn't. I don't know. I hope it doesn't make him a little too soft, because I think that's what makes him such a good competitor.
Yeah.
He's arrogant, he's cocky, he's on his own planet, right? Just like I think a lot of these guys need to be able to compete and win a sport like this. But I'm being semi-facetious, right? I do like to see that out of Brooks, but it's just good to see. I'm glad it just seems like he's content with his decision to come back, which it's reported that he made approximately $165 million in the what is that, 3 seasons of going to live, including on-course earnings and supposed contract earnings. So it's not like he went to boot camp, but still, it's good to have him back.
Agreed.
Okay. I'll bite. Who else
bite.
is coming back to the PGA Tour? You said someone else is coming. Who is it?
Patrick Reed. I am so excited for Patrick Reed to be back.
Can I admit something?
Here's the thing. No, stop.
Okay,
hold on.
Right.
I've said it before. I understand why people don't like Patrick Reed. I do. I get it. I hear you. He has some scumbaggery history. Okay. But here's some things. You have to give credit where credit is due. Do you know what Patrick Reed did that nobody else did before he went to live?
What's that?
He gave up his membership to the PGA Tour. He said, I'm out. And then he signed a contract with Liv. So he doesn't have to do and jump through the hoops and do all the crap that Brooks and whoever else might come back will have to do. Because he's like, no. I wasn't under your rules when I did that. Because I gave up my membership. I wasn't part of your game here. So he just has to go through the regular qualifying things. He's going to be playing on the DP World Tour, which he's already been grinding, right? I mean, we've talked about that before. And I think you just mentioned one of the things that you liked about Brooks was he kind of had this bad boy attitude, right? Mm-hmm. He's got the leather jacket. He's the cool guy. He's got the IROC Z in the parking lot. He's so cool. Patrick Reed is that guy, but he doesn't have to say it. He doesn't do anything. He just kind of exists. And he's that guy that everybody's like, ugh, what are you? Ugh.
You know
You're
why,
in the top
right?
5 right now? Yeah, because he's a scumbag.
Yeah, because he's actually a bad guy.
But guess what? I love it. Look, here's the thing. Before I knew anything about Patrick Reed, I remember, I vividly remember, I didn't know anything about Patrick Reed's history. I knew Patrick Reed, didn't know his history, and I'm watching the Masters that he won, and I was rooting for Patrick Reed. And a buddy of mine goes, he's kind of a jerk, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. He's like, well, yeah, he left his first college, he went to another college. There was like cheating allegations and theft allegations, all this stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just want this guy to win a Masters. He wins the Masters, and then all this stuff kind of becomes mainstream. And, I'm not buying a Patrick Reed jersey, but I just kind of like watching him play golf. And I like the drama behind it. Like, I'm not friends with him. I wouldn't be buddies with Patrick Reed, but I like seeing people get all Twitter-pated about him being in the mix. It's fun.
So it's funny because I think I was on the record on this podcast saying something like it would be better for the PGA Tour if any of these live guys came back. Like, I think it would be good. It's a win. And in the back of my little pea brain, I was thinking, but there's Patrick Reed. But I still think it's true, right? Like that he was the one that was kind of pushing my putting my my statement to the test. I still think it is a good thing for Patrick Reed to come back to the PGA Tour, not necessarily because of his personality, but I think there's a win there too, right? I think it is more interesting when you got a guy like Patrick Reed. playing on tour, especially now. Now that he's left and coming back, right? Like if people didn't like him before, now they have even more reason not to like him for better or for worse. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. And to kind of go back to your point about what he did before he left Live, is it seemed like he didn't burn any of those bridges, at least from like a literal pen on paper policy standpoint. And so now it appears he has some sort of avenue back onto the tour. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I know you and I talked about it earlier this week. Do you know what that avenue is for him to start playing events either later this year or start at 27?
I think, if I remember right, he can start playing at some point in 2026. He's limited on some of the financial pool benefits through the PGA. But I was trying to look it up, but I'm pretty sure he can come back 2026, and then there's some sort of financial penalty, just like a grandfathering in through 2027 or 2028. So correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure I'm close. I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in his statement, he had said he's excited to come back early 2027. So I know he's probably got he has a lifetime Masters exemption from his 2018 win. So there's that. Now, have you ever read the book Chasing or Slaying the Tiger by Shane Ryan? It's probably like a 2015 book, is my guess.
I have not.
It's Slaying the Tiger, A Year Inside the Ropes on the New PGA Tours is the title of the book, written by Shane Ryan. And in that book, there's a lot of allegations. There's like a whole chapter devoted to Patrick Reed. There's all sorts of stories about allegations about him playing college golf and his teammates essentially ousting him because they thought he was cheating. They would catch him cheating and they weren't going to go to bat for him anymore.
Right.
So there's some deep-rooted stuff as to, why he's the character that he is. I don't know. I guess there's receipts for all this kind of stuff. And
right, of course.
It's interesting to have him back on tour. I'm sure he's going to hear it nonstop when he shows up at PGA Tour about all the stuff he's did about Live, about cheating, about X, Y, and Z, you name it.
But here's how Patrick's built. You got to look at his like media presence, I think, compared to other guys. Like compared to some of the other top golfers of his generation, he's not really forward, right? Like I mean, he does the things if he's asked, but he's not one of the main guys. He just kind of cruises along to his does his own thing. Probably because he is kind of the scumbag.
Kind of the scumbag.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff, right? Then there's the his wife supposedly had a burner account talking about him and like pro him, and dude, there's a lot of stuff, right? And then you get to the personal stuff with his family. I don't know enough, but there's just like a lot of stuff where it's like, yikes. But guess what? He's really good at golf.
I'm going to self-impose a timeout for us here. You know what? We're breaching into territories that we'll just let the listeners just Google it. How about that?
Yeah.
We're starting to talk about we're going to let all of our avid golf fans do some research. You can look into it yourself. Now, I got a fun trivia question for you. What do you think let's do combined PGA Tour and Live earnings for Patrick Reed. What do you think his career earnings are?
I
don't know how many Live wins he has. He has 9 PGA Tour wins. I don't know how many times he won on Live.
I'm going to say he's north of 180.
180 million?
Yeah, I think he's above that. I'm going to say I'll say 180.
Okay. Now, you might be close-ish. I don't know what his contract was to come over, but his on-course earnings with Live over 3 seasons was $54 million. You add that to his $40 million earned on the PGA Tour. So he's just shy of $100 million, which I think if you ask Patrick Reed and if you ask Justine, his wife, do they have any regrets? I'd say the answer is probably no for them, right? He's played his cards really, really stinking well over his career, and he's a stinking good golfer.
The answer to the regrets thing, I think, is put to bed now that he's back. I think that there would have been questions about regrets had he stayed with Liv and his career just kind of ended and he was on Liv and just kind of gotten forgot about. But now that he's back, this is where all the media is. This is what everybody talks about. This is where everybody's at. All the top golfers. This is where all the history is. Like, now he's back here. Like, he got to do the thing, and now he's back. No regrets.
He got to have his cake, and he got to eat it too, baby.
Yeah. And the guys that I'm worried about, right? Like, if we were to rank the guys we wanted to come back, and maybe we already did that, right? Like Rahm and Bryson were probably 1A, 1B, depending on kind of what you think of either of them. I'm obviously Bryson 1, Rahm 2. I think Brooks was number 3. And maybe Patrick's 4. We've talked about Dustin. I loved Dustin when he was on the PGA Tour, but I think we've said it before. I think he was just kind of over doing the thing. I think he just likes showing up and doing whatever he wants and then going deep sea fishing when he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you when you look at, who, because when I think of who on Liv would we want back on the PGA Tour, there's kind of the obvious characters, there's the obvious golfers, and then there's the golfers and characters, right? So Patrick Reed is a guy, because when you're looking at the list of names, you're like, well, is this guy even really good enough anymore to compete, right? So you got like Bubba Watson. I don't know that I care if he comes back to the PGA Tour or not, because I don't think he can compete on the PGA Tour, right? So it's just kind of irrelevant. Do I like Bubba as a golfer? Yeah, absolutely. It'd be fun to watch him play again, but I just don't know if he can hang. Phil Mickelson, same thing, right? Patrick Reed's the guy where you're looking at it saying, well, he is one of the guys that I think absolutely could compete, week in, week out on the PGA Tour. So absolutely, let's bring him back. Speaking of that, Patrick Reed for PGA Tour events, what do you think his made cut percentage is? Oh, I might have lost you, Matt. So I'm just going to rattle these off because it's impressive, and he's had some success on Liv. Patrick Reed has 278 career starts, and he's made 221 of those cuts. So that's about an 80% clip. Patrick Reed also has 58 top 10s in PGA Tour events, which means if Patrick Reed makes a cut, then he's 25% chance making a top 10. So we got ourselves a top-notch PGA Tour player that's making their way back on tour. So I think we all ought to welcome him with open arms as he makes his way back. Now, as I look at the remaining names of Liv golfers, who are the guys that maybe I want back? Who are the guys that I'm hoping comes back? I might answer it. We've done this exercise before, but I'm going to go down the list, go team by team again, and just see, who's the guy that we want back? Who do we think is coming back? I'm going to start again, as always, with the 4 aces. We got DJ. I don't think he's coming back. I think he would be high on my list of guys I would like to come back just because I'm a fan of his. I don't think he's coming back. The next guy on the list, we got Thomas Dietrich and Thomas Peters. I think both of those guys are pretty new to Live Golf, so I don't think they're going anywhere. Oh, Matt, welcome back. I'm playing a game right now. Where I'm kind of revisiting our game where we went team by team on Live Golf on who we would want to come back.
That's what I was doing when I lost you. Yeah.
But I want to do it with different context. I want to look at it on, do we think they will come back? Because I think it's a bit of a different question. And I'll start with the 4 aces, right? Obviously, Dustin Johnson's the guy that I want back. I don't think he's coming back, though. So I even if he had the chance, I don't think he's coming back. Thomas Dietrich and Thomas Peters, I think Dietrich just came. I don't think he's played a live event yet, so he's brand new. And Thomas Peters just went over last year. So I think those guys are pretty safe. Now, we should play this game every week until you can get it right. But the Cleeks, who's the captain of the Cleeks? Don't cheat.
Of the Cleeks? isn't that the South African squad? Louis Oosthuizen.
No, that's Stinger. That's Stinger GC, and I think they're rebranding actually. Now that I think of it,
You know so much more about live golf than I do, dude. You are
I kind of sneaky like it.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's Martin Keimer.
And I play it off that I'm indifferent, but I just can't find myself to watch it. I think the only ones that would come back, I'll just kind of, this is kind of my broad statement about it. I think the only guys that it would serve to come back to the PGA Tour are guys that have had significant, however you want to define that, success on the PGA Tour, so they can finish it out and have their legacy be they ended on the PGA Tour. That's my opinion. That's just how it feels. I feel like that there's guys that were like, I wasn't doing anything on the PGA Tour anyway of note, and I'm 3xing my money here on live. So why wouldn't I come here? Like, I was just doing this thing for a paycheck anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I be on the PGA Tour when I can make this much more money over here? When I think that there's a thing for another level of golfer, and I think this is true for just athletes, right? That once you start asking the question of like, okay, what's my legacy? Like, what am I leaving behind? That's worth something that you can't calculate, right? Like, that's why you couldn't give Tiger Woods enough money to go to live. He's like, guys, there's just not a number that's worth it to me and the legacy I've made. And I think, sidebar to that, why for me it was so surprising to see Phil Mickelson go.
Yeah.
To be honest, right? Like, it just was kind of shocking. But I think there's guys that just, I don't know, I think that they're just better suited to be on live. So the only guys would just be ones that are in an age where they could still come back and be competitive and have something to kind of tie a bow on their careers. And I don't know if there's very, very many more guys outside of Bryce and John.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. Like, once if those two guys came back, I don't know if I would be really that interested in talking about live ever if those guys were back on the PGA Tour.
I'm looking at the list. I think I agree with you. Maybe, I don't know. There's just some characters that are fun. I'm all in on the South African live team. I think those guys are awesome to watch. Speaking of, I do need to highlight that there's a lot of rebranding going on as we make our way to the 2026 season for live golf. Okay.
Okay.
Not a lot of changes for the 4 aces of the cliques. Well, they did a little, they kind of softened up some edges on their logo. Crushers looks about the same. Fireballs GC, they changed their color, I think. Unless this is just for one image, but they used to have that bright red that Sergio Garcia loves. They've kind of moved into a little bit more of a burgundy, kind of a maybe an ash, kind of amber color. So going places there. Phil Mickelson's High Flyers, very similar logo, but it's a nice change. So they've updated their logo. Now the big change. I'm trying to remember the name of the what was Kevin Na's team called? Ironheads.
That sounds right.
The
Korean Golf Club.
Myself. Ironheads. They are now the Korean Golf Club. You know what? I made fun of it before. I said, so what? They just take all the Koreans and put them on a team, call them the Ironheads. I'm glad they're calling the Korean Golf Club. Or I think I would have liked to see something a little bit more, I don't know, give us something that is Korean and make that your golf club. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work that way for the Korean language. I don't know, but like a word play on it, like for example, the Stinger GC, the South African team, they're now the Southern Guards Golf Club, which I think is an unreal rebranding. So we got that there. The Majestics, or the Majestics, have completely changed their primary and secondary colors. I don't know how I feel about it, but there it is. Legion 13 remains the same. Who else we got? Range Goats. I don't see a lot of differences there. Ripper GC, the Aussie squad. I don't remember Elvis Smiley being on the main squad, so maybe that's a new pickup for those guys. Smash, So wait a second. So Smash is the team that Brooks was on. So Taylor Gooch is the captain, Jason Kokrak, Graham McDowell, and Harold Varner III. So maybe Graham McDowell was the one that got shuffled over there when Brooks left. Do you have any insight on that?
No, the only thing I remember is Harold Varner signed a new contract just a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So I don't know if that means he's the one that moved over, but I do know that he signed a new contract. He like announced that.
He was on the 4 Aces at some point, so maybe that's where he's coming from. Southern Guards, as I mentioned, these guys are an absolute wagon with Louis, Mean Dean Burmester, Let's Go Brandon Grace, and Charles Schwartzel. And then the Torquay with Joaquin Neiman. Not a lot of changes there. Yeah, you know what? Generally speaking, I don't even really hate Liv that much. I like the team aspect. I kind of like the way they do it. But I'm with you. It's kind of character based, right? It's like, what's your favorite football team? I don't have a favorite football team. I just like certain players. I really liked watching Drew Brees. So I was a Saints fan for a little while. That's kind of how I feel with Live Golf is, I can get engaged with it. I can start following the teams and have opinions on logos because I know Bryson's there. I know John Rahm's there. Brooks was there, right? But if they don't have these guys, then I don't really care about the Crushers or the Cliques or the High Flyers or the Korean Golf Club.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes for them.
We just went through all of the teams. Did you see a name there that proves my comment incorrect?
I think Tyrrell Hatton is a name that I don't know if he moves the needle in terms of I would stay interested in Liv, but I think he's on the list of guys that make it what it is, having a guy like Tyrrell Hatton there. Richard Bland, I mean, he is kind of the needle, I'd say. Richard Bland is. So as long as he's there, I will be watching. Sergio Garcia, I think the game's kind of passed him by, but he is kind of he brings eyeballs, whether they're mine or my mom loves Sergio Garcia, but he's kind of in the same category as guys like Rory and Tiger in terms of everybody knows who Sergio Garcia is,
Yep.
He's still got Phil. I mean, he's still kind of the face. But no, I think otherwise, I think you're right. In terms of modern day PGA Tour professional golf, Cam Smith, he might be just the saddest story of all of them just because I know he's fine there. He doesn't want to come back.
I think you just said it. For me, I wish he was interested in being in the PGA Tour, but I think he's in the same camp as DJ, where just has zero interest, does not care to come back.
Yeah.
Doesn't
care. And selfishly, it's like, gosh, I just wish, I wish he was still competing on the major championship stage. But I think for him, I think he's fine not. He won a major. He checked the box. He got to go at the perfect time, right? He sold high. He bought low and he sold high, went over to Live, probably signed a pretty sweet deal. And now he gets to spend a lot more time at home. He gets to hang out with his Aussie buddies, who he seems to genuinely enjoy being around. Like when you look at team content for these guys, the Ripper GC is like the only team that doesn't really have this kind of cringiness to it because it just seems really genuine. So I think he's just living his best life. I just selfishly, as a golf fan, wish I got to watch him competing at the Masters when he was, making a charge against DJ, like he seemed to do every year at the Masters. But now he's just kind of doing his thing.
Yep.
All right, Matt. Well, hey, we're coming up on over an hour. Do you have any lasting thoughts as we make our way into the next week? We've got Waste Management Open coming up in Phoenix.
I'm excited for that one. It's usually Waste Management is usually in past years for me, the first tournament that I sit and watch Thursday through Sunday. But since I've got this going on with you, I've watched a lot more golf in the last few months. So I'm excited for the Waste Management. And I think I'm really excited in a second way that both me and Andrew have an opportunity to really make up some ground in our money game. We both got all 5 golfers playing. You have one guy in the field.
Who's my guy now? Because I had 0 as of 2 days ago.
I said you had 0, and then I followed it up because I wanted to be sure of myself. And Sahith Thagala is your only golfer playing. And you know, if you're gonna have only one guy playing, that's the one for you. I'm pulling it up right now so I can talk about it out loud here. Since if you've last,
Matt, I'm gonna mute you.
The current standings as I pull this up.
Matt, I'm removing you because your mic is cutting out. But I am going to end it with this. I know you can hear me still. We do have a mutual friend who's going to be inside the ropes at Waste Management Open this weekend. So my homework to you is I need you to send me a list of things that we want this mole of ours to gather while he's down in Waste Management Open within the ropes. Give him an assignment, and he's going to report back on the podcast with some of his notes with sights and sounds from the Waste Management Open. So with that, we will go ahead and conclude episode 37, and we will be tuning in again next week. Thanks for listening.